Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we tonight? It's cloudy here with 74 degrees. That's a nice little temperature for me. I like it hot. I pray everybody listening to this has safe from the hurricanes who came through in the areas, especially in Little Rock, Arkansas. Uh, um, and the upper state of on the east coast part of the east side of Arkansas, not Conway, Wayne, and some other places. I call that Tornado Alley in the in Arkansas because that's usually the path where they land. Viola and all those people. So if you're out there listening to me, uh, you're in my blessings, and I'm glad you're still here with us. And for those that lost, may God take their soul, and blessings to them also. And I'm sorry for your loss. Let's get this disclaimer up here right now because we're going to need this disclaimer big time. This is going to be a trigger warning tonight for explicit content. Let's throw that up there too. We need to. And this warning: we contain graphic images. Some of you going to find it offensive and disturbing because it's disturbing to me. So let's make sure we get all these things up here so we don't have people saying we're doing some kind of porno stuff or whatever. We're not doing porno stuff. But I'm gonna tell you right now, from the time I did Aiden's stuff with the stories about Aiden, and this right here doesn't have anything to do with Aiden, but it kind of all started off there uh with me having to do some lives about transgenders, the LGBTQ community, and so I've done a live on that, and we discussed it. Okay, it's no big deal. But just when I thought it was over, it's not over for me. Um, and this, don't get it wrong now. What I'm going to talk about tonight, don't do like a lot of people are doing. Come on, y'all know I'm a vet. I'm, um, I fight for everybody's freedom. And that includes LGBTQ have freedoms. They have the right to freedom. We have the right to freedom. We have the right to be educated. They have the right to be educated. No one has the right to infringe on the benefits of the human species in the United States of America. That's just how it is. It's time to grow up. Some things need to be out there, some things don't need to be out there, and there's a reason for that. But, well, I'm going to start this off with what started to what started me on this. uh I'm going to start on what led me to do this talk today. I saw uh I don't even know what it's called. It was a short on YouTube, and I was kind of shocked when I heard it. So that led me to do this whole thing tonight about you know so I'm going to start with this. Let me finish putting up a couple of things, getting stuff started here. When you come in, hit the like button, and please subscribe, and don't forget to make your comments now. We need to talk about these kind of things, and don't make it a hate one thing and not the other, because this affects all children, So let me get started here. I'm gonna sit down, get your coffee or whatever you got to do, but you need to start paying attention because this is coming straight from the horse's mouth.
Ask if we should take our clothes off. And he's saying yes before I finish my sentence. He's pulling off my t-shirt, laughing when I can't undo his shirt buttons. He's undoing my belt. I'm reaching into his bedside drawer for a condom. You can see where this is going. But this reminds me so much of the first time we had sex. We were both terrified. Now, this book was at my middle school and it was on a stand. When I rented it out to show my dad it, the librarian asked if I wanted more and if I wanted a graphic novel version.
That was an 11-year-old from Maine, speaking at his local school board meeting. As a mom, I can't with this. So the book he's reportedly reading from is called Nick and Charlie, about two early teen boys who steal wine and then sexually experiment with each other. And he checked it out of his school's library. The teacher unions and school districts have deemed classic literature racist, but sexually explicit books for children are okay. The degradation of education is why we started PragerU Kids. Join us, pragerukids.com.
So, again, that was 11-year-old Knox Zajic. He's a sixth grader from Maine. And it's not his parents speaking out about it. He is speaking out about it. When he read it, I don't know if I thought it was a joke or this was something like handpicked off the shelf. But yeah, he spoke out about it, about pornographic content in his middle school and wanted the administrators to know about it. He spoke at the school board meeting and he read aloud from the book Nick and Charlie, and he checked it out from his school library. But the age advisory in that book is for a 14-year-old and older. So technically, the librarian should not have let him check that book out. If it's going to be there, you need to follow the rules of it. If the book was there, she should have told him, I'm sorry, you cannot check this book out. You are not old enough to check this book out. You're in the wrong grade or whatever. Nick and Charlie was written by Alice Oseman. And as they said, begins with two teen boys stealing wine from their parents. And they were proceeding to experiment with sexuality with one another. This book was on the stand, and at the school board meeting in Maine, Knox read, "My back over my hips." I was asked if he could take his clothes off. He was saying yes before I finished. He was pulling off a t-shirt, laughing when I can't undo his shirt buttons. He began to undo my belt, and I'm reaching into the side drawer for a condom. Again, the kid should have never had the book in the first place. It was specifically age advisory for 14 and up. But not enough that she didn't stop him knowing that the book was for 14-year-olds and up and he's 11. She asked him if he wanted more, if he wanted the graphic novel version. And what? How you gonna ask this kid, does he want the graphic novel? Oh my gosh. Okay, now it doesn't get easier from there. I promise. You go from Maine. Now we're on the East Coast. Now we're gonna go way over on the West Coast to Oregon. Explicit sex ed book causes controversy at Oregon Elementary School. There's a book called "It's Perfectly Normal: Changing Bodies, Growing Up, Sex, and Sexual Health." And on the cover, let me see. Do I have a picture of it? Um, Actually, I do not have a picture of it. That sucks. It's by Robbie Harris and Michael Emberly. Uh, and it's a sex education book full of illustrations depicting sexual acts as ignited a controversy after it was left at an Oregon elementary school library. The principal at Hudson Elementary School in Raynor admitted in a letter to the parents Thursday that the book was inappropriately shown to fourth graders in the library recently. Angry parents were told the book had been pulled off the shelf. The book in question is called Perfectly Normal, and it explains sex and sex health. Um, The illustrations in that book include pictures of naked teens and adults, some depicting sex acts and even masturbation, the school district reported. The school board officials defended it's perfectly normal. Um, they said the books had been approved for students 10 and up, and it's on the state approved list of books allowed at the school. There's a lot of things getting mixed up here. Uh, the children who are allowed to check it out versus the children who are picking it out and checking it out. The rules aren't being followed for sure. The rules they've established is what I'm saying. Don't get me wrong here about what I'm saying. About am I saying that it's okay? No, I'm not saying it's okay. Um, we all grew up reading or somewhat reading books, and there are plenty of books in history that have been banned. Now, I want to make something really clear from me. My opinion. This ain't, anybody else's opinion. This is my opinion. I don't think when I was growing up, there wasn't anything taught in school about sex education. At best, it wasn't until high school where the girl, I could say little because they were high school girls, where they were carried around a bag of flour with it dressed up like a baby. And the guys had, they depicted you and a girl got, you're pretending to be husband and wife, and you both got to take care of this baby. Um, I wasn't, happy about that. I mean, I felt like they were teaching me, you know, how to be a parent versus how to go to college. I went in the military, but I'm just saying. They were teaching me how to uh, care for a child, and I wouldn't even had it in my mind to have children with no girl. And the girls I know didn't have that on their mind too. They were thinking about what college they were going to go to and what they wanted to do and grow up to be and what profession. I never heard any girl that I went to school with say, "Oh, yeah, I'm waiting to go have babies." We were, to be honest, most of the people I went to school with, we all went to the same church, mostly, the majority. And I guess that just happened. I don't know, but that's how it was. So I still think that until they get to high school, they're, well, I guess you could have a somewhat discussion of a miniature type sex ed around maybe the eighth grade, maybe, just to let them ask questions, in case somebody else isn't doing their job, like moms and dads. See, because no, no, because in this article right here, the parents are saying some fourth graders who saw the book at 9. So, no, I'm going to stick my ground on this one. I think high school students should have these books there. They're old enough and mature enough to pick these books out or not to pick them out. It's the parents' job. And that's another problem. The parents aren't doing their job anymore. I'm sorry. If you're a parent and you aren't having the right kind of conversations with your children about sex, then this is partly your fault as well. You don't want the school system to teach your children about sex, then you need to step up to the plate like it used to be. This wasn't a problem in the 80s and 90s. It wasn't. Parents taught the sex, not the teachers. If you kissed a girl or a girl kissed you, you knew y'all got in trouble one way or another. When I was younger, they were still calling cooties. And it has to do a lot with this fast-paced education system, fast-paced world that they're living in. The teachers don't use books anymore. They don't use chalkboards anymore. Hell, the students don't even get books. And we wonder why our education system is falling. Get the damn books back in the school. Instead of the books that are in the school are filled with things they shouldn't even be talking about at this time in their life. That's the books that are there, not the education books. The school district told the station of sixth grade class that the books were accidentally left behind, where the fourth grade class found them and they read them. School board said it was an honest mistake. But parents of some of those fourth graders accused the school librarian of showing them to their children and encouraging them to take the book home. Well, that's a no-no. Now, she'll get fired for that, or should. But then how do you know what all the teachers are allowing to get by? Maybe she wasn't trained correctly on this subject, and how much she was trained to encourage reading, but doesn't know the line of, if it's in a library book, why would she think she isn't supposed to encourage reading it? Maybe in her mind, the student that asked, could they check this book out, is possibly one of the children who are questioning things that they can't talk to their parents about, and maybe that's her mindset. You can't blame the lady solely for not having a true understanding of why that child would want it. She's not supposed to know, because the child's not supposed to be asking. Because the parents are supposed to be doing their job about educating their children about sex. 2, the kids are smarter than we used to be. They know a lot more than we ever knew. Inappropriate human development and sexuality books were disseminated to students who had library. According to the station, procedures have been put in place to make sure this doesn't happen again. And the librarian was disciplined over this. So, there you go. She was disciplined. So now what? You know? Well, I don't know if I really want to just Mm-mm. Well, we might as well get into it, okay? This is the part that I didn't want to get into because I know how people are on the internet and they're going to blame LGBTQ people for this, but this is not an LGBTQ problem. This is a problem all around. It's problems for parents not educating their children. But hey, you can't educate them if you won't listen to them. If you have a child that's an LGBTQ, and when I say have a child that is, you can keep lying to yourself that my child ain't no faggot, my child ain't no lesbo, I got a real son, I got a real daughter. Yeah, you know what? That's why some girls either end up pregnant while they're 12 years old or 13 or 14, or run away and something bad happens to them because you've made it very clear that you're not going to support them and you're not going to have their back. That's what they need to hear. They need to hear about how much you love them, and no matter what, you always got their back. And to never be afraid to come and talk to you about anything. Why? Because that's your job, to protect them come hell or high water. That is what you're supposed to do. Whether they're gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, the whole gambit, LGBTQ, or just a straight, they know. Okay? I'm sorry you came here and wanted me to say all this whole book thing is out of control. They should not be, none of them should be in schools until they get to high school. Period. I don't want to see a guy with a girl getting a girl pregnant. Um, I don't I don't need any kids to be seeing that either. Whether it's two boys together, two girls together, a boy and a girl together, don't want to see it. And don't want it to be around kids at least until they get in high school. Because by the time they get to high school or before that, because trust me, the kids that know what they are, and that's a bad way to say that. Did you know that? You would say what they are. But by the time they decide who they are, and they do know, y'all just don't know how much I've educated myself since Aiden in this particular subject. I've even gone to a meeting house in town where the community gets to know people like the LGBTQ, uh, where they meet so you can get to know them better. And they all claim the same thing. And not just claim it, they'll tell you a story that goes with it about how when they were younger, they knew they were different. It just they knew and they could tell a story that proved it. That would make you go, "Oh yeah, that's different." I'm pretty sure in the whole gambit of society, you know, people who are different than other people or the majority of people, they know they're different. They know. I don't care what it is. Does an African American child have to be told he's different from others? No. He sees it and he knows it. He feels it. They all do. Even LGBTQ people. Now you got an Oregon school district containing pornographic imagery and sex acts in another district. They have pornographic imagery including sex acts and online Porter School, using to track availability of children to check out their libraries. What the hell is going on? Schools around the country use the program Destiny to track books taken in and out of the library. Fox News Digital obtained screenshots of inappropriate titles and books on gender ideology at most district schools. Destiny listed in at least 3 high schools: Milwaukee, Andrea C. Nelson, and Clark's high schools. They actually contain depictions of sexual activities, including oral sex. Some images are so graphic that they're being withheld from the story. I'm not going to talk about them. That's too much. A mother in Oregon pulled her children out of the school as a result of what she believed was indoctrination into Oregon schools. You know, if you cannot trust the schools to teach your children your belief system, or you can't trust the school to teach just your children the subjects that they need to learn: math, English, science, chemistry, history, social studies, that then maybe you need to start thinking right now it's time to pull them out and let them do online schools. Online schools are good. They have activities just like regular schools do. Online kids meet together and do activities. There's a whole new way that they do schools, and it shouldn't be a big deal to pull them out because they were at home doing school on when COVID was around. Kristen Stevens told the Fox News Digital that it's not about how I feel, it's about the laws that are being broken. Children are being exposed to sexual content at an age that they're not developmentally ready to be exposed to this. It's actually caused PTSD in a lot of these kids, a lot of them. And just like school shoot ups, they've heard about it, seen about it, and experienced it enough now that when this event happened at the Covenant School, the children walked in order in a calm manner more than the teachers were walking and acting in a calm manner. You know why? Because they're immune to it now. They're immune. They know to keep calm. They know how to keep calm to an active shooter. Pull your children out of school. It will not change. Starting next year, it will get worse. Kirk Cameron says the public schools are grooming children with critical race theory, sexual chaos, and race confusion. It's not worth handing your child over to the government to let them teach them sexually explicit content or to teach them indoctrination. The next thing you know, you look at your child and you no longer recognize them because they're not your child anymore. Fun Home High School. Fun Home was written by Allison Beachdale. Follows the journey of a lesbian girl getting to know her sexuality, and it contains images of lesbian sex as well as masturbation. I ain't holding back here tonight, y'all. I ain't holding back. The book has made controversy in other verticals. When it was assigned for freshman reading at Duke University, a Christian student wrote to the Washington Post that he refused to read it because there is an important distinction between images and written words. But viewing pictures of sexual acts, regardless of the genders of the people involved, conflict with the inherent sacredness of sex. And that was a young man at Duke University, and he just put that in. That is the perfect sentence. That's the perfect sentence for you right now. Every single one of you out there listening to this, if you have children, this is why you should pull either your children out. if if they don't get these books out of there, y'all should be screaming for real books for their classes that they can touch and feel, because smart screens ain't working. Okay, they can't remember everything from 7 o'clock in the morning till they get home. You need a book. Let them use an old fashioned book. Go and sign them out for them. Help your kid out. There shouldn't be any books about sex in the library at all. And if they won't pull them out, pull your kid out. There are free K through 12 online schools that your kids can go to. K through 12 is one of them. So listen to this again. A Christian Duke University college student wrote, important distinction between images and written words, but viewing pictures of sexual acts, regardless of the genders of the people involved, conflict with the inherent sacredness of sex. You can't get no more perfect than that. You can't. You just can't. This book right here, Genderqueer by, I can't even say that person's name, Maya Kobabe, depicts sexual acts and contains discussions on masturbation. The more I had to interact with my genitalia, the less likely I was to reach a point of satisfaction, the book said. In a scene illustrating sex, the caption states, this would involve hip thrusting while thinking of my latest gay ship. I can't believe I'm having to say this either. I really can't. I really can't. Flamer is a graphic novel that constitutes sexual charged topics and imagery. The character discusses erections, penis size, and illustrations depict naked teen boys while they're making fun. Like this cartoon here, Flamer is autobiographical graphic novel. This is supposed to be funny. It's a graphic novel. They're canoeing out of the frying pan island, in which supposedly looks like a frying pan, but we all are certain it looks like a C and a B. Did you get that? I can't say it, but you just got to think on it. Looks like a frying pan, but we are all certain it looks like a C and a B's, the book said. This book was recently at Clarks Ames High School and Milwaukee High School. Just take a breath. Juliet. Juliet Takes a Breath by Gabby Rivera discusses a woman's journey coming out as a lesbian and contains extremely graphic imagery of sexual encounters. And that's just to name a few. Trying to get my little thing to act right. There he goes. The pictures I'm showing you are all in books or magazines or any literature your child can find to look at. This right here, Gender and Sex, came out the New York Post. Oral sex, butt plugs, masturbation, as meditation, and how to send sexy selfies, and how to have anal sex. See, welcome to the inside books found in your child's second library. You know, the library they have at home with you. It's just not the same as the books they have at school. I'm going to just apologize for all the graphic nature of these pictures. You don't expect to see images like this in a newspaper or on your television, and yet they are available to your small children in the school library. Yeah, they are. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, today. Not 5 years from now, today. The question is no longer whether there is pornographic material within your child's reach. It's whether or not we do anything about it. In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis has decided to act. For his trouble, Democratic activists and politicians have labeled him a book burner. So, which of the books specifically does Mayor Adams believe need to be accessible to children? Is it the butt plug one or the one with the graphic images of anal sex? Then there's the deny faction of the left American federal teachers boss, Randy Weingarten, who called the idea of inappropriate books in school a hoax. This isn't happening at all. What's that Governor DeSantis even talking about? Is he talking about genderqueer masturbation and gay sex in that graphic model? Is he talking about this one? A scene from the same illustrated model of a prag not oh protagonist. Thank you. Receiving oral sex. No, there's nothing wrong with your screen at all. Nothing at all. Yes, I really put that up there. And mind you, I am not placing anything on here that is not for educational purposes. These are in schools. DeSantis came to his press conference earlier in the week armed with the facts and images of the books found in school libraries. Florida news stations had to cut their feeds because the imagings were so graphic. Now, you can't show, the graphic pictures because it's so graphic. And adults cannot see this, although these are acts that adults do. So let me get this right. Adults can do these acts because they're adults. You can't show them on TV because adults are watching, but there might be a child in the room, and God forbid that child sees it. The parents can't dictate what their children do in the library of what they get out to read. They don't see it till the kid comes home. So explain it. Who are they? Who? Uh, why did they cut their feeds? Because the graphics were the images were so graphic. Get that? I don't get it. Adults at home watching the news can't be exposed to anything this graphic, but a small child at school can. Isn't that their target audience? How did we get here? How? A book called Stolen Youth has been laid out at libraries, have become a staging ground for this kind of woke indignation aimed at the children. A 2019 American Libraries Association conference featured workshops like creating queer inclusion in elementary school library programming. And are you going to tell my parents a minor's right to privacy in the library? Oh, mercy. Let me just put this cartoon back up right here for a second. It's going to get worse before it gets better. They have stuff about their texting to each other. Play safe, just like you use protection when you have sex in person. Use protection when you sext. SEXT. Crop out your face, hide birthmarks, scars, edit out your piercings and tattoos. I am reading a text between two people. A text from one person to another. Directions. How to take care of yourself. They're protecting each other. Crop out your face, hide your birthmarks. And don't forget to tell your sweetie how hot they look. Let them know you appreciate the little gift you sent you. And you're lucky devil, you. So here goes one of them. You're so hot, I love you, miss you. That's one text. The text back. Me too. Tit for tat, by the way. I'm gonna want to be getting some photos of your cute self sometime soon. Blush. These are two people texting to each other. Because it come from a book. One book shown by the Florida governor included a lurid step-by-step on how to send sexy selfies. Then we go right back to here. Well, before we go forward, this right here is making fun of it's making fun of him. And this guy right here, you guys are so gross. This could be one who's quiet and nobody knows about it, but these are pretty much probably two little, allegedly straight guys making fun. And anyway, Now we go on to what I was just saying. This is let's start talking about gender versus sex, all the way to the left and going across. Back in the old days, people used to use these terms interchangeably, but now we have more modern and nuanced understanding of what they truly mean physically and physiology. Gender is a social culture and mental state of seeing male, female, and a combination of the two or neither. It has to do with how somebody feels inside, rather what they look like. Down. Sex has to do with reproduction as well as physical and biological makeup and can reference things like chromosomes, genitalia, and hormonal activity rather than mental attributes. It can also refer to acts of physical intimacy that generally involve one's genitalia, i.e., having sex, etc. Lately, the entire concept of biological sex has begun to be debunked as well. This is the content on gender versus sex as seen in the book by DeSantis. Now, this next clip I'm gonna show you. Be ready for it. It's all I can tell you. Be ready for it. This is in a kid's book. And don't forget, everybody's got a butt. You can read it for yourself. I'm not going to read it for you. But it definitely needs to be addressed, even everything it says. Mm-mm-mm. This is in a book. It's in the graphic novel Banned by Santana. So we come across the programming of children's school library. This is its origin. The left has made indoctrinating. I don't think it's just the left. Children their top priority and sexualizing them early and causing, you know, different procedures, different sex acts, and they seem to be aimed at the LGBT community. Um, with all of this, it seems to be that they're blaming um, LGBTQ like it's just all their fault. You know, that's how they. I gotta take this down. I can't do it anymore. Okay. Thank y'all for hanging in there with me. They they, they tend to be schools that it it seems to be blamed at the LGBTQ community. All these books that I've showed you tonight, but these are not the only banned books. Well, they're not banned. They are not banned books. Those books are in the schools right now. You should be doing everything in your power. If they won't, they shouldn't be in kids' library at all. No, 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 not until high school. Okay, they're old enough to understand. Well, they. I don't like to say old enough to understand because young kids do understand. Just they need to be able to express themselves to their parents. And parents, you just need to be understanding and listen to them and really understand them. It's not all about sex for them all the time, it's about acceptance. It's about, like, say it's a little guy and he likes theater. It's okay. Dad, it's okay if he doesn't want to be a truck driver. It's okay if he doesn't want to be a carpenter. It's okay to let him tiptoe through the tulips up and down the steps wearing a tutu. It ain't hurting nobody. He's either going to grow out of it or he ain't. And there ain't no box on love that comes with subtitles under it that say, I'll love you if you dress like this. I will love you if you talk like this. I will love you if you do this or that. Those boxes aren't there. You either love a person because they're a part of you, you and your husbands, wives, or whatever, a piece of your DNA and their DNA made this DNA. You might want to think about that. These are the banned books in, I guess, in America. They are there, so you can't just say these things. Like The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Gerald. Um, it was challenged at the Baptist College in '87 because of language and sexual reference in the book. I have The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. I'm not going to afraid to admit it. That is a banned book. Um, and has a target of censors for the book. Um, in 1960, a teacher in Tulsa, Oklahoma, was fired for assigning the book to an 11th grade English class. There's a lot of schools that remove this book from the class. Some mostly for sexual references, profanity in the book, being obscene, uh, excessive vulgar language, sex scenes, moral issues, excessive violence, anything dealing with the occult. Uh, there's a long list on that book. The Grapes of Wrath, John Steinbeck, is a banned book on the grounds of vulgar words. Um, Cummings High School in Burlington, North Carolina in 1986, as it's on the optional reading assignment because the book is full of filth. Someone said their son was raised in a Christian home, and this book takes the Lord's name in vain and has all kinds of profanity in it. Although the parent talked to the press about it, a formal complaint with the school demanding the book's removal, it wasn't filed. The book contains the phrase GD. And yes, that's a reason for the book being full of filth. Think about that. In 2023, that's a word that comes out of people's mouth every day, 4 or 5 times a day. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I just wrote all about that being with Aiden. It's a banned book for the words damn, whore lady, trashy, filthy novel, psychological damage, it says, and it uses the N word several times. It contains profanity, adult themes, sexual intercourse, rape, incest. The Color Purple by Alice Walker because of its language and explicitness. Sometime in 19 the was a challenge that the book was too violent. It's sexually graphic. 10th graders can't read it at Paxton Area School District in 1992 because it's smut. Oh, just smut. A Pulitzer Prize winning novel. It caused it because it's inappropriate language, graphic sexual scenes, and both negative image of black men. We're talking about The Color Purple here. We're talking about banned books right now. Ulysses by James Joyce. It's banned in the US, Ireland, Canada, England, and England again in 23 and 29. The Lord of the Flies. Do we really need to know why that was? Well, profanity, sex, statements of deformity, ninth graders accelerated in this, excessive violence and language. 1984 by George Orwell, challenged because its pro communist, contained explicit manner, violent sexual manner. Of Mice and Men, John Spine. Oh, these are all banned books. Catch 22, Joseph Heller. Brave New World, Adios Huxley. Animal Farm by John Orwell. As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner. The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. Oh, Song of Solomon, Toni Morrison. And Gone with the Wind. Yep, Gone with the Wind. Because the novel uses the N word. My Native Son by Richard White. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. There are a lot of books that are banned. From Whom the Bell Tolls, The Call of the Wild, All the King's Men. More than 1,600 books have been banned in over 5,000 schools during the last year. And most of the bans titling released to the LGBTQ community or race or racism, according to the new report. PEN America, a nonprofit group that advocates for free expression in literature, released a Monday report, a start of banned book week, and efforts to ban certain books during the 21-22 school year. It found that 2,532 instances of individual books being banned, which affected 1,648 titles, meaning that the same titles were targeted multiple times in different, you know, to pump the numbers up. They were uh, doing the titles multiple times, so they got the number up. So by the time they were done, books were banned in 5,049 schools, with a combined enrollment of nearly 4 million students in 32 states. See, they're working overtime on some of this stuff, man. The PEN America report said nearly all of the book bans, 96%, were enacted without schools or districts following the best practice guidelines for book challenges. And the conservative group and parents are Googling to find books that have LGBTQ content, and that a conservative group adds it to the list of inappropriate books. Hmm. There's a lot of banned books for sexual stuff, but the most frequently banned books were Gender Queer, a memoir, and followed by All Boys Aren't Blue and Out of the Darkness. Banning books harms students in a few ways. When a student shares a gender or sexual identity with a character in a book, then that book is banned. It sends a message that stories about people like that are not fit for school. And that's true. When school leaders cave to these pressures, they elevate the questionable judgment of a handful of parents over the professional discretion and training of librarians and educators, and above all, the needs of the students. I understand that. But at the same time, let's be mature enough to move it to where it goes. These types of books should be in high school at best, at earliest. You know, there's a twofold problem here. Kids are scared to tell their parents how they truly feel, and they hide in the closet. They self harm. What would I like? I would like every child to be able to sit down with their parents, tell them how they feel, and learn from their parents out of their mouth straight away that they don't hate them and that they love them no matter what. Let them work it out. They will work it out within themselves. Maybe it's a phase, maybe it's not. But they need to know that you love them no matter what, phase or not. You need to support them, and then you need to defend them. If other people in your family calls them names or makes fun of them or jumps on them for something because they have a problem with it, then you need to step up to the plate and stop it. That's your child. Children need their parents, the mother, the father. If they ever needed them more, they need them now. They need them now. These books need to come out of these elementary schools. They, at best, they need to be in high schools. Then the parents need to talk to their children, especially if they, you know, are wanting to talk about this subject, and it may take you a long time because they remember everything you said. You may have been screaming for years, faggot, making your own comments out loud about people you've seen, saying, "Oh, these two faggots." And people like to use that word, lesbos. They always say that. All this stuff. They've heard you say this stuff. So if it applies to them, they're not going to be so come hither, want to come out to you because you've already displaced your hate for someone else. Just like some African Americans display their hate toward white people. Yet not all white people are bad. And then there's some white people who like to express their hate to all African Americans, yet all African Americans aren't bad. It has to start somewhere. We are all caretakers of the children. You can bet one thing. If you have an LGBTQ child, if you do not open your heart to accept this child, if you do not listen to their words, if you turn your back and ban them and take your love away from them, if you do any of those things, they will find somebody who will give them what you will not. I hope all you guys learned something from this. Think about it, take it to heart. I hope you get the bad books taken out your schools. I hope you hug all your children and love all your children more than you ever have. They need you. I'll see you next time. Good night.